The Bible Study Podcast, episode 392. Today, the Bible Study Podcast continues the study of Psalms with Psalm 54 and 55. Welcome to the Bible Study Podcast. I almost skipped over Psalm 54. It's a very familiar theme, but it's also pretty short. So we're going to read that, and then we're going to keep on moving. It goes like this. Save me, O God, by your name. Vindicate me by your might. Hear my prayer, O God. Listen to the words of my mouth. Arrogant foes are attacking me. Ruthless people are trying to kill me. People without regard for God. Surely God is my help. The Lord is the one who sustains me. Let evil recoil on those who slander me. In your faithfulness, destroy them. I will sacrifice a freewill offering to you. I will praise your name, Lord, for it is good. You have delivered me from all my troubles, and my eyes have looked in triumph on my foes. One of the reasons I decided I did want to do this particular psalm is in this psalm and in the next, David, this is a song of David, is in trouble. He's in trouble because of his enemies. And so he is asking for vindication. People are trying to kill him. But the tones of the two psalms, I think, are very different. I think he's writing these from different places. In this one, even though people are trying to kill him, it is somehow triumphant. I will sacrifice a freewill offering. I'll praise your name. You have delivered me from all my troubles. He looks forward and he sees the days when all of these troubles are over. And he has faith in God. And the difference, I thought, was fairly notable as we go on to the same kind of theme here in Psalm 55, again by David, but we catch David in a time when he just wants to flee and hide. And it goes like this. Listen to my prayer, O God. Do not ignore my plea. Hear me and answer me. My thoughts trouble me, and I am distraught. Because of what my enemy is saying, because of the threats of the wicked, for they bring down suffering on me and assail me in their anger. My heart is in anguish within me. The terrors of death have fallen on me. Fear and trembling have beset me. Horror has overwhelmed me. I said, oh, that I had the wings of a dove. I would fly away and be at rest. I would flee far away and stay in the desert. I would hurry to my place of shelter, far from the tempest and storm. Again, a similar situation. David has enemies. In this one, we just know that his enemies are assailing him and that he is afraid of death. In the other one, it was more explicit that his enemies were trying to kill him. I think it's true in both cases. So what's the difference between Psalm 54 and Psalm 55? It is my experience that how we look at situations is not constant. That we have sometimes emotional roller coasters, that our emotional responses to things are by their very nature wax and wane, that some days we have better days than others, even when we find ourselves in bad situations, even when we find ourselves in scary places. What is it that you are afraid of? What is it that terrifies you as David is terrified here? And there may be many answers to that. It might be sickness. It might be uncertainty of a job or uncertainty of a relationship. What is it that terrifies you? It might be the fears of a young parent. It might be the fears of having aging parents. It might be the fears that something about you that you don't want people to know may get out. What is it that you're afraid of? Do you have days when you say, oh, that I had wings of a dove, I would fly away. I would flee far away and stay in a desert. David had at least one day like that. And we've seen from his other Psalms probably more than one, unless he was very productive in that one day. He had days that he felt like running away. Now, obviously, he had days when he did physically run away for his life from Saul especially, and later from Absalom. But he has days when he loses heart. The psalmist goes on, David goes on, and says, Lord, confuse the wicked, confound their words, for I see violence and strife in the city. Day and night they prowl about on its walls. Malice and abuse are within it. Destructive forces are at work in the city. Threats and lies never leave its streets. If an enemy were insulting me, I could endure it. If a foe were rising against me, I could hide. But it is you, a man like myself, my companion, my close friend, with whom I once enjoyed sweet fellowship at the house of God as we walked about among the worshippers. And so we learn that part of the reason that David is having a hard time taking it, part of the reason that he's having a hard time dealing with this, is he's feeling betrayal. That someone who he was close to, someone who he had sweet fellowship with, a fellow believer who he had sweet fellowship with at the house of God, is now the one who is opposing him. He is feeling rejected. He is feeling betrayed. But finally, because this is a Psalm of David, David comes back to God, as we will in all of these Bible studies, and as I hope we do in our daily lives. He says, "Let death take my enemies by surprise. Let them go down alive to the realm of the dead, for evil finds lodging among them. As for me, I call to God, and the Lord saves me. Evening, morning, and noon, I cry out in distress, and he hears my voice. He rescues me unharmed from the battle waged against me. Even though many oppose me, God, who is enthroned from of old, who does not change, he will hear them and humble them, because they have no fear of God." I like that David points out that God doesn't change. We have our good days, we have our bad days. We have those days when the fear seems like too much, when we feel overwhelmed, but God does not change. And so David cries out to God evening, morning, and noon. He cries out to God at all times. And he says, "And I know that God will hear me. He will rescue me unharmed. My companion attacks his friends. He violates his covenant. His talk is smooth as butter, yet war is in his heart. His words are more soothing than oil, yet they are drawn swords. Cast your cares on the Lord, and he will sustain you. He will never let the righteous be shaken. But you, God, will bring down the wicked into the pit of decay. The bloodthirsty and deceitful will not live out half their days. But as for me, I trust in you." And so he looks again at his companion, his former companion, really, who is now attacking his friends, who's violating his covenants, he's breaking his word, whose talk is smooth. But war is in his heart. So his lips are saying one thing, but he has malice in his heart. He's saying all the right things for all the wrong reasons. His whips are more smooth than oil, yet they are drawn swords. I love that picture there. They are doing damage. They are meant to attack. He is a false friend. But David comes back as he does again and again, even on days like this, even on days when he is ready to flee. And he says, "Cast your cares on God. Cast your cares on the Lord, and he will sustain you." Even on those days when we're ready to flee, even on those days when we are ready to give up, even on those days when we are filled with fear, he says, "Cast your cares on God." Remember, God is not changing. God is always there, and God will hear us when we cry out to him morning, noon, and evening. And so he ends, "As for me, I trust in you." I pray this week that you and I will put our trust in God, no matter what things we are afraid of. With that, we'll bring an end to this episode of the Bible Study Podcast. If you have questions, feel free to send an email to host@thebiblestudypodcast.com, or better yet, leave a comment on this episode at thebiblestudypodcast.com. You can also follow me on Twitter at Chris2X. And as always, thanks so much for listening.
What do you do when your world is falling apart? How do you march when it would be easier to stay where you are and die? Join me every week on the March or Die podcast, and we'll discuss that and so much more.